Today I'm doing a follow-up to the PepsiCo presentation that I gave about 2 weeks ago. This is after they released their 10K. So I just kind of looked through that and figured out what I thought was important based on that. And so this is just 4 or 5 things that I picked up from there that I wanted to talk about. Just a little bit of background, the division breakdown, and also looking at kind of how international Pepsi is. Looking at the left side, we can see that from the revenue, they have almost half of that coming from international exposures, so they're very globally diversified. And on the right side, we have a division breakdown. And FLNA, the 37%, the purple part, is Frito-Lay's North America, and that is their snack food division. So that snack food division is actually bigger than PBA, which is their beverage division. So that just shows that they have a decent amount of exposure to the snack food rather than the beverage industry. This is an acquisition of a Russian food and beverage company that was completed on February 3rd, I believe. So this is just kind of showing that they are moving internationally, and they acquired 66% for $1.3 billion. And kind of the reasoning behind this is that Pepsi has an initiative that by 2010 they want to have $30 billion in revenue coming from only nutritious foods. And so this acquisition alone is expected to increase that revenue from nutritious foods by $3 billion within 1 year. And currently they only own 77%, but by March 11th they expect to acquire the rest of the stock. I want to focus mainly on the left side, looking at the U.S. Market share in terms of snack foods. And like I said before, that's mostly the Frito-Lay's North America division. And it shows that PepsiCo has a 40% ownership in there. So that's 4 times Kraft Foods, which is at 10%. So again, just showing that they're very exposed to the snack food division, and that that's going to have a very large impact on their performance as a whole. And what's interesting to me is I'd like to see how their move towards nutritious foods is going to affect their exposure to snack foods, just because how are they going to, snack foods and nutritious foods are very different, they're very different markets, etc. So how are they going to combine those two and stay successful in both? This is a DCF analysis. A couple things to say about it, how to read it at first. The top line is the terminal value growth rate, and on the left side is cost of capital. The model that I used has 10 years, the first 10 years at 11%, which is 11% growth rate, which is very high, but that's based on 10 years of historical revenue growth. And past that, I used the Gordon growth model to project growth into perpetuity. And that was at 3.16%, which is in the middle. And then cost of capital came out to be 6.1%, and so that gave a share price of $90. To be honest, I'm not exactly all that confident in this. 11% growth rate for the first 10 years is pretty high, and analysts estimate it to be closer to 9%. And with that growth rate, it puts the price closer around what the share price is right now, which is somewhere along this range, around $60 or $70. So this spreadsheet is up on the website, so you guys can take a look at that if you want to and mess around with the numbers and whatnot. The income statement, the main thing I want to say about here is the SG&A jumps more than I would have expected it to. What I found from that was that their shipping costs increased by about $2.1 billion, and also they had $800 million in costs associated with the acquisitions of their bottlers. Balance sheet, I don't like that they loaded up on goodwill and intangibles. Everything pretty much took a jump in 2010 coming from the acquisitions of their bottlers and also the acquisition of the Russian company WVD. So it's not really good that they're letting up on those intangibles. Cash flow statement, I really don't have much to say about that, so we can come back to it at the end if you guys want to look at it more. Competitor analysis, Coke and Dr. Pepper are pretty obvious because they're in the beverage business as well. I decided to put up Kraft because they were the next company in market share in terms of the snack food industry. The main thing I want to say about this is Coke. If you look at their PE, it's much lower than Pepsi's, and also come down here, and the net profit margin is actually larger than the operating margin, and that's because they had a one-time $5 billion income, I think resulting from the acquisition of CCE. My recommendation is to take no action. We're already fully allocated in the consumer staples industry, and I don't really want to over-allocate there. You know, we have allocations for a reason, and talking about portfolio theory, the majority of our profits are going to come from asset allocation rather than security selection. So I don't think we should over-allocate in this